Did you know that SharkBite makes radiant manifolds and they are flipping awesome because you just shove the tubing into them and they don't leak and there's no additional. They come with the valves, the 1-inch valves, and they're stainless and there's no adapters.
That's cool.
Okay. There I said it, you guys.
There you said it.
All right, we hit record. I'm pulling my coffee off the machine right now.
Fresh cup of Joe.
All right, this is live action podcasting right here. That's what we call that.
That's right.
Andy, how you doing, man?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Grinding. It's heating season suddenly here in Minnesota. It has been for a little more than a couple weeks for you, off and on, right?
Yeah. Yep.
We're having unseasonably warm weather leading into October. We had like our first 90-degree day in October in like 2,900 years or something crazy. Like it's a long time. It was like 30 years, 25 years, something like
that. And that was just last week.
Yeah, it was last Saturday.
Crazy.
They recorded like 92 at the airport. You know, the official like what they're gonna gauge it off of for all the records.
Yeah. We had our first freeze alert on Monday with 30 degrees.
Oh, you know what? I'm officially, I've been old for a long time. I like to say it's something new that I'm dealing with. You know what I mean? But you know what I did last night?
I saw your story.
No.
Was that what you're talking about?
No.
Okay.
Maybe. Well, what? Wait. Call me out. What did I do on my story?
Your story that had the weather, like the current time, sunset or whatever.
The sunset picture.
I was like, oh, is it cold? And I'm like, oh, it's 50.
Well, this time of year, though, the sunrises and sunset are different this time of year. They are different.
Crisp. They're crispy.
Yep, exactly. The air is different. It just, everything just looks a little, they're more colorful in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. No, even more old than that, this behavior's got to stop. I covered our potted plants out front with sheets. Bed sheets.
Oh my God. What?
Yes, I'm like, call me grandpa now. Yeah. Please don't call me grandpa.
You do know in a week those are going to die, right?
Yeah, well, they lived this long and they're pretty. And it's like, I've been watering them, I've been feeding them. No, it's just like, come on. I know they're annual, like they're going to die. Like, in fact, if they, if it's not next week, it'll be the week after, like you said. It's probably sooner.
Right.
Yeah. I just feel, Okay, so I want to talk about, first of all, hey, everybody. Welcome to the Make Trades Great Again podcast. We've said that in every single episode. And let me do a little housekeeping. Please hit us up over on your podcast app and give us a review. It's been a little while since we've seen one, and we do appreciate the feedback. It also helps other people find us. And I don't care what anybody says. I've seen some people saying that doesn't matter. It matters. Yep. Okay. Here we go. I got a question for you, and this is a topic of today's podcast. It seems like a lot of jobs lately I've been forced to, and this should be regular business for as usual, whatever. Let me pull that back. Lately, I've been seeking out materials based on price for jobs as I bid jobs. So like heating systems, let's just stick with heating systems.
Yeah.
Boilers, stuff like that. That's what you and I are doing a lot of this time of year, and it's kind of our specialty anyway. And the cost of materials has skyrocketed for various reasons. A lot of what we do is commodity price affected.
Steel, copper, aluminum.
Yep. Even the equipment is taking hits on that based off of when they were manufactured, what the prices were, stuff like that. It goes up and down a little bit, but the manufacturers generally take the hit on that stuff, but we can't install the equipment without more commodity, right? Whether that's even plastic pipe is affected by it because of the oils, resins, stuff like that, refinery production, stuff like that, but then copper. My God, copper, brass, steel. For frick's sakes. Anyway, this might seem stupid. I'm just going to put it out there. I feel like I've had to go with a lot of products or start considering products in my installs and my replacement jobs that were things that I was passing by a year ago because I didn't feel like it had the features I needed at the price point I was willing to pay to get the convenience and the like everything that these items were doing for me were better if I was on the upper end of the price scale at that time. Does that make sense? Yeah. For example, did a radiant heat job recently. Tubing, stuck with my regular tubing. Okay, PEX tubing. You can definitely go out there and find a low cost PEX tubing. There's no doubt.
It's going to be buried in concrete though, so it's like.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know. I've stuck with the major brands that I'm used to because I can trust it and I know the process. Okay.
Right.
And, what am I going to save on a floor, a residential size floor, concrete floors worth of radiant tubing? What am I going to save from one brand to the next? Like $100? Like, it's not a ton. It's for percentage of the job. It's not a lot. Okay. Manifolds. Great example. Radiant manifold. Everybody, even if you don't do radiant heating, you've probably seen in floor heat, that all the tubing comes out of the floor, connects to this manifold. These manifolds do a few things for us. Really, it's just like, it's really a way to collect all the ends of the tubing and distribute, evenly flow through it, stuff like that. Flow meters built into them. You want them to be simple to install. They should not take very long, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Come with the valves, that kind of thing.
Yes, that's a great point. Okay, so I'm going to go over a couple things real quick. And this isn't about radiant manifolds. This is just about having to look at the job and go, our costs are so freaking high that I'm losing more and more and more. My selling percentage, or what's that number I'm looking for?
Closing rate
is dropping. Okay. It has dropped like a freaking rock over the last year and a half. And it's because my prices were so high because I was sticking with what was working and highest quality and features and all that stuff. And I'm priced out of the market. So I'm looking at different things, a radiant manifold, and I like the stainless steel ones. I do prefer one brand over the others, to be honest with you, because it's just easy to install. It seems to go together nice. It seems to be made the best.
Yeah. Few issues.
Yeah.
Just they work.
And you use the same one. And it doesn't matter what brand that is. Right? Major brand, you probably know it because they make a lot of fittings that are put together with a press tool, put it that way. I don't know why we're not just saying Viga. Anyway, I get on Supply House and I'm like, how much are the bluefin manifolds? Just how much are they?
Right.
And I look at them like, wow, I mean, they're like 20% cheaper.
Yeah.
Okay. So I do the math and everything. I'm like, yeah, they're cheaper. I'm going to give them a try. And I did. They work just fine. They don't have the same fitment and everything as the Viga ones. But to be honest with you, look at some of these manifolds, you wonder if they're just not made in the same factory. All of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That comes the most apparent, if anybody out there's not been to an AHR show, you should attend one.
Yeah. Major trade show for the industry.
Yep. You will walk through that trade show and you'll be like, oh, there's that Legend stainless steel manifold that I've been buying and installing for years. And you look at it and you're like, no, that's Hisun. What?
Yeah.
And then you walk like 8 steps down the row and there's that same manifold. It's the same company. No.
Different importer.
It's not.
Yep.
Different importer.
Yep.
And there's 14, 15 of that same manifold throughout the trade show, and there'll be the 2 or 3 major name brands that that are been here in North America for years, and they have that manifold there, and then there's 10 more down the road that you can't buy unless you were an OEM or something like that. But they're an importer, and they're there. It's interesting though you say that.
Well, I mean, it's not as if I was under any delusion that these weren't imported, that they weren't all, similar or anything like that. Yeah. There were a couple details about the ones that you and I have been installing for years now and come to like that do make them noticeably nicer. At the end of the day, as long as they don't leak, they're doing the same thing, the two, right? The lower cost versus the higher one we preferred. Yep. Again, it's not about the manifold, it's about the point that I've been forced to go at it from a different direction based off of just survival. And I know that's basic business, but we're seeing it all over the place. You and I were just before we hit record, I pulled up 2 websites real quick on the computer. Menards, which is a home center here in the Midwest. If you're not familiar, it's save big money. 11% rebate. It's basically how Minnesotans were. You think, the grocery store is like ubiquitous to, I can't even say that word today. You're like, that's a big part of your community. Well, in the Midwest, it's Menards. No, but you could buy, the point is you could buy a lot of plumbing stuff from Menards, and occasionally you might see plumbing contractors doing it because in a lot of cases they have a big selection at a decent price.
Yep.
Right now, copper, let's just talk 3/4 inch copper. Pretty 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 solid. We're using this every single day, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
copper's copper.
Yeah.
In a lot of that. I mean, I don't know.
Well, the price right now is crazy.
Let me ask you this. So you said you've been buying some, and I'll let you get to the price here in just a minute. Is it a different brand than what you're buying at wholesale?
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
It is. Yep.
It is? Okay.
So Good and Company is the other side. So that's one of my local suppliers. Regional supplier owned by the same people that started it. It's not some big conglomerate yet that I know of, at least.
Right.
Good and Company price on 3/4 inch copper. This is not throwing Good under the bus because
they got to make money too. Yep.
Right. But also, look, newsflash, they're going to be more expensive than the retail, believe it or not. $365 a foot, type M.
Okay.
Okay, so that's your lowest cost 3/4 inch pipe.
Yep.
Straight pipe, 10 footers, 20 footers, doesn't matter what you're buying, because they'll sell you both. They don't charge you more for one or the other. It's listed in their online catalog that I have access to through a login at $365 a foot.
Yep.
That's type M. Menards, $327 a foot. So 40 cents difference, roughly 38.
Right.
And so not insignificant when you're buying, hundreds of feet at a time.
Right.
Point being, about a year and a half ago, we were paying like $1.40, I want to say, a foot. So what's that? Less than half? And it's a commodity, but there's also tariffs involved because a lot of copper is coming imported. All right. Gooden is saying that theirs is not imported. I can't verify that I have had anything other than domestic copper from Gooden, but the price reflects it. It's more.
Right.
It's more. Do you want to buy because it's U.S.? I'm not necessarily worried about that personally, and people are going to not like that statement, but my customers are not asking me, do you source your materials from the United States? They're just not. And just because something's made in the U.S. doesn't make it better either. I'm just going to put it that way. In a lot of cases, it can. Like you and I just had a discussion too the other day. Like I prefer a specific type of malleable fitting. Like I like the Warren brand. It's also a U.S. brand. And I prefer it. I like to say, oh, it's made in the U.S., But honestly, I've felt that the quality has been better than the import alternatives that I have in my area. I think the import stuff in my area is terrible. But maybe that's just what I have to choose from, right?
Right.
But it's also not perfect that it's Ward. Like you gave an example, and I put a gas manifold together recently. It would look like it looked like like the S curves down the mountain. You know what I mean? It happens.
Right. Yeah, it was a Friday shift tapping session or something.
Yeah. Point being, though, and I've talked for 10 minutes already.
Yeah.
Our costs are all over the place. They've only gone up. I haven't seen them go down, and it's not unique to our industry, but it feels personal at this point because it's been so long that we've seen anything level off and stay there. It just seems as if we're turning around and every time we do, there's some kind of price increase coming. And it's really hurting either the bottom line or it's changing bids that were out there for a while. That's another thing I'd like to talk about today, but what's your take on all of this, Andy? Sorry to go on and on.
I'm dealing with it as we speak. Doing a project right now where we have some mega press fittings. I bought a bunch of this mega press a month and a half ago. And, now that we're in the job, I'm like, oh, it'd be nice if I had a couple more of these or a couple more of that. And I'm looking at it and the difference in 1 month's time from what I purchased a month ago to what the cost is now is significant.
Really?
And it's kind of staggering. And I don't know. I need to look at the fittings to find out because I'm just curious what changed, right? Because I think these fittings are I thought they were made in the U.S. Maybe they're not. Obviously, they're not, because they're getting some sort of, either it's commodities pricing increase or a tariff increase or something. Something is changing.
Well, just because a fitting might be made here also doesn't mean that the material that
raw
fitting's made
material,
out of
right.
was made here. That's likely imported. Like all of our tank water heaters coming from our good friends at Bradford White. Like, look, I don't think it's a secret. It's not. You could probably figure this out pretty easily if you just start talking to them or go online. All the steel that they're making their stuff in, it's just coming from where they can source the best quality at the lowest cost, and it's not going to be within our borders, unfortunately. But they make the tank here, so it's made in the U.S., right?
Right.
But it's of global materials, and that's the case with like anything we're installing, right?
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how manufacturers handle some of that. If the tariffs or whatever ends up coming after sale on some of that, almost applied like a shipping charge or a fuel recovery. I mean, we saw that. I mean, everybody saw that in during COVID.
Yeah,
when the diesel prices were up or whatever. You look at every delivery you got and it was like fuel recovery surcharge.
Yeah,
and it's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
That's price of doing business. That should have been included in the charge.
Yeah, you hate seeing that line item.
Right. And so, I mean, we talked about it, I think in the last episode about getting the bill after the fact. I took delivery of stuff and then 3 days later I get a $400 invoice, for tariff fees. And so, I mean, we have to start accounting for that. I mean, I've got a job right now where we're looking at some fan coils. And I've got them basically on PO with the manufacturer, or with the vendor, but I haven't committed yet. I've told them, and I'm waiting for a call back from them to find out what can we anticipate for a tariff, right? And they're kind of like, well, I don't know, because it depends on the tariff. It's whatever the tariff is when the product crosses the border, right?
It's so ridiculous.
So if right now we anticipate that it's this, and in a 6 to 8 weeks when it shows up, right? Granted, this is stuff that's coming from China.
Yeah.
So solution, buy something that's here in the States. Guess what? Nobody makes a 2-pipe hydronic fan coil that hangs on the wall that's aesthetically pleasing. Doesn't happen. Not a single U.S. vendor makes something like that.
Yeah.
And so we're stuck, right?
Well,
so
that whole buy it from the U.S. only works if it works. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you just have to that's not the conversation.
Right. And so that's part of what we were in this world where you couldn't convince me any other that it'd be great if we manufactured some of that more of that stuff here. That would be great.
Yeah.
However,
absolutely.
We don't. And that's not here and today. And I'm trying to figure out. So like I said, I've got this project. It's going to have 2 of these fan coils. They're like $900 a piece ish, I think is the realm, maybe a little more than that. If they're going to get hit with that tariff, I mean, what does that put them? Let's say they're 1,800 total and we're going to get hit with a 35%.
That's another like $600-700, isn't it?
Yeah. I was just going to do the quick math here. Plus 35% hits us at 24. So yeah, $630.
Look at the big math on big brain on Brad here.
Big brain.
Yeah.
But that's but if I haven't talked to the customer about that, do I just absorb that? Because I mean, we agreed on a price 2 months ago.
So that's going to be my question to you when we hit record here. How do you handle it? How have you been handling it? Because I've got a job we've talked about in the past. I've got a job that's taken like a million years for no reason. It's so ridiculous. I'm at such a point of frustration that I feel like I just want to be like, you know what? When I took this job on, I didn't know it was going to take 2 years. So like, I'm out. But that's stupid. Because all I have to do is wait to be told it's ready and I can get paid again. You know what I mean? But it's just frustrating.
Where's it at? What stage is the job at right now?
Like they're carpentry.
Are they framed?
Yeah, they're framed and everything. Like it's a post frame building, so that was before the floor, right?
Like,
but
it's not dried in then.
No, it is.
Kinda.
It is. It has been for like a year. It's like the interior framing. like literally like build out the inside. Because it's a, it's garage, it's a barn dominium, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's living space and part. It's a giant garage with a living room.
Yeah.
No, it's just I have the job costed or priced out, obviously, at pricing that we're just not working with anymore.
Right.
I think you'll have a better way of explaining this to everybody listening, because my brain's all over the place today. But how would you handle that? You got a job you bid, months ago, a year ago, it doesn't matter. It's time to do the job. Obviously, we've always had a opportunity for prices to be, change, just systematically, just kind of how the industry runs. But
Yeah.
we're also up against these tariffs, different reasons why we've got increases, stuff like that.
Yeah.
How would you handle that at this stage? Like for my job, just consider
Yep.
my one project. We put the tubing in the floor months ago. This job was priced out over a year and a half ago. And like, I'm still waiting to install the boiler, which they gave me a deposit on. I purchased at that time, but that's about it. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. I think what you do right now at this point is, and this is the way I would handle it. I would write an email to the customer and say, hey, looking forward to, getting your job completed. We've got the boiler secured. We've got the water heater secured. Those were covered under pricing previously. Because due to current, economic state and, price increases, I can't tell you, or I cannot accommodate the same pricing for the installation of these products. It just isn't feasible. And I think they're going to recognize that. I guarantee you that they have had this same conversation with the carpenter, with the electrician, the drywaller, the painter, the roofer, the freaking gutter guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because every single one of those trades has had that same thing, because they all did the same thing. And potentially the reason why they're hung up is because the framer's like, dude, your lumber package, we bought half of it. We should have bought all of it, because now the lumber's twice what it was then.
Right.
And then they're probably like, well, we're going to have to work 2 more months to, scratch up the next $800 for the added cost of the framing package.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the scenario is, but I think if you have that conversation and say, listen, I have the water heater, I have the boiler. If this price isn't acceptable, if this moving forward is not acceptable, then I'll deliver these 2 items, and and here's the amount total, for where we're at, and this is what it is. I mean, because like you say, you got a down payment, and I know how that is, because a lot of times 50% covers the cost of the materials and a little bit of the install time, and you're going to catch up the profits on the install when you do the trim out.
But not if your material costs are overrun on what you bid the job.
Right. But so where you've got to look at and say, to date, we gave you the deposit with the anticipation that we were going to do the trim out. Right.
Yeah. We're going to install the whole job
at this amount. Right.
Yep.
And it's a package deal. However, to get to that end package deal, now the cost of my materials, because we've waited 2 years to do this, is more. Right now, if we were going to put this on the books next week, and we were going to do this install next week, and we're going to wrap this project up, we can anticipate, there's $900 in change difference.
Yeah.
If you come up with a number, have that conversation and say, listen, if we push this out 6 more months, there's going to need to be an adjustment made. Because I'm not buying the material right now unless you pay for it.
Oh, God, I hate this.
It's a crappy conversation. Yeah.
It's not like I'm uncomfortable. It's like it's so frustrating, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I want to bring something up. This isn't a product plug, but this is gonna ruffle the feathers for a couple people, but some people that are interested might find it useful. Maybe you know this about, it's not super important stuff, but I did a couple repairs over the last couple months. Oddly enough, I needed to replace, in 2 different jobs, by the way, unrelated, I needed to replace radiant manifolds. God, we're talking about manifolds again. And this is going to be a short one. Remember the old Embassy manifolds? I think that's what the brand they were. They were like black plastic blocks that were like bolted together with like all thread rod. They're like black and red or blue.
Didn't Worsbo have one for a while?
Theirs were like snapped together, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But you know what I'm
I
talking about,
vaguely
right?
remember. Yeah.
Big
Yeah. Had
kind of
O-rings in between.
yes, big clunky kind
Mhm.
of plastic stuff. Right.
Yep.
Okay. Not that plastic manifolds, there's anything wrong with them. It's just that these were junk from the beginning. Uh, I ran across a couple of those that were leaking, and people were like, "My system, it's like we got to have somebody out here all the time to fix it, and I don't know what's going on." I'm like, "What's the freaking manifold?" They're like, "Yeah, they put this fill valve. It's not the fill valve. It's not the fill valve. Your old fill valve was probably fine. Your manifold leaks like crazy, and this thing is constantly shutting your system down because, like the boiler sensor shuts off, shuts the system. You know what I mean? Anyway,
Yeah.
so here's this isn't tariff or cost related or anything. Did you know, this is where we're going to piss somebody off. Did you know that Sharkbite makes radiant manifolds and they are flipping awesome because you
Really?
just shove the tubing into them and they don't leak and there's no additional they come with the valves, the 1-inch valves,
Right.
and they're stainless and there's no adapters.
That's cool.
Okay, there I said it, you guys.
There you said it.
Might be using Sharkbites moving forward. Actually, I didn't bring it up earlier in the conversation. I tried the other one, but I did those 2 replacement ones, and timing was different from when I did that floor install recently. But I think that might be where I'm moving forward. I like the idea that I just put the tubing, and it worked. Come on, it worked. Sorry.
Yeah.
I had to add that in there. I had to tell the world that I did it because I was like, I don't know, is this a good idea? And then I put them in and they're fine. And I did it because about 2 years ago, I did the same thing just once. And I know for a fact that it hasn't leaked or anything like that because I've serviced the system. But anyway, yeah, we've been talking along. My brain is all over the place today. Everybody, I apologize.
Yeah.
I might need to get, I should eat breakfast before we do this, I think. I need to start waking up a little earlier.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Thanks for the advice. I think I got to talk to my customer. I know I have to talk to my customer, and
you do.
That's the way I got to come up with the math, make sure I'm accurate on it. I know what my bid was. I know where I was at my pricing at the point in time we initially bid this and won the job. And you're right. It was bid at that cost, and I hope that they're able to understand that. I hope it's not a situation where I'm, walking away from a job. That's not what I want at all. If that were the case, I would consider doing the job and taking the hit. I don't want to lose the whole job, but we'll see.
Right. Yeah. Well, and like I say, I mean, those kinds of things, the only thing you can do is have that conversation. I mean, they suck. I mean, it is what it is. You just got to have the difficult conversation and say, hey, listen, here's the reality. And how do we move forward? Here's what I think it's going to be.
Yeah, I guess I don't feel as like it's not like I made a mistake.
Nope.
You know what I mean? It's not like I priced it wrong.
Or you installed it wrong and now you're trying to figure, whatever. I mean, there's worse conversations to have. And like I said, I would bet that you are definitely not the only one that's brought this up to them lately.
Well, you make me feel better. I hope somebody listening is taking your advice too.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Anything else you want to add before we sign her off?
No, I think I'm good.
All right, dude. See ya.
Have a good one.